You have to understand the principle clearly enough to use it to your advantage. And one of the principles that's important to understand is when you feel like there's nothing you can do about it, that feeling is the result of a negative belief telling you that there's nothing you can do about it and you buying into it unconsciously.
So, in a sense, it's like getting to the point where you don't empower negative beliefs and believe that they're stronger than your positive beliefs.
Because
Or,
that's another belief, isn't it?
yes.
There you go.
Okay, the next question is I'm eager to know who is vocally channeling through me. This individual is saying that, and that they sense the presence of this energy around them all the time. They also wonder if the fatigue they're experiencing is a result of the energy's presence.
If you're not used to higher frequency energies, yes, you can be tired by processing it. We would suggest that for right now, you allow yourself, if you're going to do vocal channeling or something of that nature, automatic writing or what have you, that you simply continue to practice without wondering who it is right now, as long as the information coming through you is positive and constructive, self-empowering for others and not controlling. Don't worry about the source right now. Allow yourself to know that your higher mind is involved, spirit guides are involved, your soul family is involved, your angelic beings are involved, your team is involved, your non-physical team is involved in some way, shape, or form. ETs may be involved, extra dimensionals may be involved, elementals may be involved eventually as well. But the idea is to practice getting used to clearing out any negative fear-based beliefs, any erroneous definitions that may be inhibiting your ability to process higher frequency energy and information, and just let it flow through you and don't worry about what's coming out right now or who it is. Those are details that will reveal themselves in time. Again, as long as you feel that the information in some way, shape, or form is beneficial, not controlling, but self-empowering to yourself and others, and giving you an opportunity to grow and learn lessons that are important for you in your life, then just keep practicing.
And our next question is, what does excitement feel like? I've been able to differentiate between anxiety and my neutral excitement through my intentions at the time, but it seems like an unnecessarily long process of elimination. Is this high vibe state of following my excitement supposed to feel neutral, or should it feel, as commonly put, exciting?
It can feel either way. As we have said, even a neutral state is a positive state because it allows you the freedom to make a choice. The idea is, again, to know that acting on your passion doesn't mean you have to be jumping up and down. It can be a state of very calm acceptance and gratitude and appreciation. It can be a very meditative state. It can be a state of contentment, contemplation, many different kinds of experiences. But you just have to know that what you're choosing is truly in alignment with what you prefer, that it represents who you really are. That's really the thing to focus on. Then whatever feeling comes with that will contain whatever energies it needs to contain to bring you awareness of the lessons you need to learn and bring you clarity about what it is you're actually choosing and whether it is in alignment with who you prefer to be.
Thank you. This one is, could you please elaborate about how this reality actually functions? I've heard you say that this reality is not real. Each of us is sitting in a room by ourselves talking to our own higher selves. If every person we interact with on this planet is our own version of them, do we ever actually interact with any real souls, or is everything just a reflection that each of us manifests?
Everything in physical reality is a reflection of what you're manifesting, but you are interacting with real souls. It's just that in physical reality, you are interacting with your version of them, your creation of them, in the same way that when you talk to someone over your computer or your telephone, you are interacting with an electronic representation of them. So you're still interacting with a real being, but when you see somebody on your computer screen, you're not interacting with the actual being in that moment. You're interacting with an electronic presentation, electronic representation of them. So it's sort of like that. The idea that physical reality isn't real doesn't mean the experience isn't real, doesn't mean the connection isn't real. It's simply the methodology that we're describing about how you make that interface. We're simply saying the interface, in a sense, is one step removed, just because that's the nature of how physical reality is created. It's like you're creating a screen and receiving your version through your belief system filters of what that person represents to you, what that being represents to you, and they're doing the same with you. But you're still interacting with real beings on a higher level. It's just that you're deciding that you're going to interact with each other through this filter for the purpose of getting in touch with your belief systems and what you need to experience on your life path. That's just the way it works in physical reality because you're creating the simulation. So that's what you're doing is you're using the simulation to get a reflection of what it is you're putting out so you can use it as a guideline to figure out what you need to focus on. But you're interacting with real souls, of course.
So why do people manifest things like abandonment, or being in love with someone that's not in love with them, or
A
all kinds of
million
things?
different reasons. Again, case by case. Everyone has a different life path and everyone is learning different lessons. You have to take it on an individual basis. I can't give you a general answer that addresses every single case that you're bringing up.
So in the sense of having the attitude to have that you're manifesting things where people aren't cooperating the way you want, or whatever the behavior is from people you care about that are is not supportive of what you prefer, what is the best way to look at that in terms of how physical reality works?
Well, first and foremost, always check in with yourself to make sure that you don't have expectations based on fear-based or negative beliefs that are out of alignment with the lessons you really need to learn in a situation like that. Secondly, you can observe that maybe the other people involved are also learning their lessons and need to look at certain things for themselves as well, and that you're working this out with each other by processing and communication and whatever processes you need to go through to gain clarity about what the interaction is all about and why you are experiencing it in the way that you're experiencing it. But always, first and foremost, check in with yourself to make sure that you're not insisting and that your expectations are realistic and truly representative of what's going on, that are the things you need to learn for your life path. Then you can investigate, perhaps, if the other people are willing, what's going on in their life path. But always start with yourself.
So the attitude to take whenever you're encountering beings in your life that are not in the relationship the way you prefer is to
Always,
just
as we have said, in the simplest possible way, you always check in with yourself first and say, is there something in this situation that helps me understand more about what I'm putting out? If you truly have an honest self-assessment that it has nothing to do specifically with lessons that you need to learn about your own belief systems, then you might next, as a next step, say, all right, well, maybe I'm here to reflect to them something that they need to understand to help them with their life path and their life lessons and their belief systems. But usually in your society at this point in your evolution, it's going to be something that works in all directions for all people concerned. There is always something each person can get out of it to learn about what they need to learn to become more of who they truly are. That's why relationships are so important to understand as reflective to each other to help each other become more of who you actually are. It's very rarely only in one direction. There's always something every party in a relationship can learn for their own life path.
okay, maybe this is the same idea, but This person is asking, are the challenges, trauma, and relationship issues we experience solely our own creation, or do others, circumstances, situations play a role? Is anyone truly at fault, or is there a better way to view the interconnectedness of it all?
We would not use the term at fault. We would use the term life path choices to learn lessons to help your soul grow. So it depends upon the facility that you have to divine what those lessons are, absorb them, and learn them that gives you greater and greater clarity and more expansion in your consciousness by understanding that whatever scenario is happening, there is something you can get out of it that has to do with your life path, and that your life path is always intertwined with other life paths as well, in the way that we've already described reflectively. No one is isolated. All life paths are interconnected. And the idea is to get out of it what you need to learn for yourself and to help the others also get out of it what they need to learn for themselves. But always start with yourself and what you need to learn.
Okay. And can you please share your perspective on compassion? In this person's country, the word is primarily associated with sympathy and pity. While they've never fully resonated with that definition, they find it difficult to separate compassion from feelings of pity. How can you understand that and experience it in a way that is more aligned?
Use the analogy of a parent and a child. When a child doesn't understand something yet, they haven't learned a certain lesson yet, they haven't learned how to navigate certain things in physical reality. Do you sympathize? Do you pity them? No. You have compassion that they are on a learning path. You love them no less, and you hold a space for them and teach them how to learn those things in a constructive and positive way. That's the feeling. You understand that they are on a path where they have chosen to learn certain things in a certain way. You hold a positive, loving space for them to be able to do so. That's what compassion is. You look beyond the idea of what may appear to be momentary and temporary limitations to the broader and bigger picture that they're on a path of learning certain things, and you don't pity a child for not knowing them. You have the largesse and the compassion to create a space for them in which they are invited to grow and to learn, and to see them as powerful souls that have chosen these lessons, that have chosen this life path to learn those lessons in that way. Pity is not necessary and is not involved when you have compassion for others. So think about the analogy of a loving parent and a child. That may help you.
And on your level, do you experience pity at all?
No. Why should we?
The next question is discussing problems or issues in the world inherently negative or disempowering? Does talking about these topics give them reality, or is it more beneficial to focus on positive and trust in the perfection of things?
Well, why can't you do both? Why isn't it this and that instead of this or that? It's not about avoidance. It's about constructive conversation, constructive and positive communication about the things that you think are important to change in your society. Avoiding them isn't the issue. You can focus on what you prefer, but that doesn't mean you avoid the idea that you're still part of a society that is dealing with certain issues, and that you can add your own constructive point of view that may, in fact, help the situation be resolved in a positive and constructive way eventually. So it's not about avoidance. It's about inclusion. It's about communication. It's about willingness to participate and be involved because you're part of a society that is dealing with issues that need resolution. But come at it from a positive and constructive point of view, knowing what is possible, knowing what is probable, knowing what could be more beneficial. But the idea is engage, but engage in a positive way. It's not inherently negative to discuss things that themselves might be negative. if you approach it from the idea of how can we make this more positive and more beneficial for all. So, of course, it's the style of the approach that makes the difference. Remember, again, it's not about what happens, it's about what you do with what happens that makes the difference. So, it's not about the idea that you're discussing things that might inherently have been created negatively that pulls you into negativity or reinforces the negativity. It depends on how you approach it, of course.
And ready for disclosure, specifically in the Gulf of Mexico.
Over the Yucatan, yes.
Okay. And you have many followers in Europe, but they feel the greatest number of UFOs are happening in America. Why is that? Is it because of the environment or the energy here that it's not suitable for them?
No, it's because the United States, more than almost any other country, refuses to accept the reality of UFOs. Therefore, we have to show off more often that we're here.
Okay, and as your sensing goes, are we still on track to have contact within 5 years
Yes,
or open contact?
yes.
Okay. And now that we've navigated ourselves to a timeline of open contact within the next 5 years, why is it important to continue with the Interstellar Alliance social experiment?
Because it will determine the way in which you experience open contact, making you more vibrationally compatible to experience open contact in certain ways rather than not being as vibrationally compatible with open contact and experiencing it in other ways. So it gives you more opportunity. The social experiment gives you more opportunity to experience a broader spectrum of ways in which you can experience open contact to your benefit.
And this person is saying that they attended the recent channel panel in Sedona, and while Bashar was speaking, they saw a smiling image of a female Sasani. Is she a consequential secret? And if so, who is she to this person or the
He
person
is
to
not a
her?
consequential secret. The person was perceiving the idea of my colleague that we have referred to as Anima, a social engineer, who is involved in first contact and will be, along with other social engineers from my society, involved after open contact in helping Earth understand planetary management. So the person was simply capable of perceiving the energy of my colleague, that female Sasani being, known as anima by you, in connection with the fact that we're getting closer and closer to open contact, and therefore you're more capable of sensing the presence of all who are connected to the idea of being a first contact specialist, which is also a type of social engineer.
And then also, I think this is going to be the last question. In your recent previous transmission, a viewer asked you how far your ship was above Sedona. And for the first time I've ever heard you answer this question, you answered no comment. Are you allowed to give us more information behind this comment, or are we really that close to open contact?
You are very close. That is all I can say at the moment.
Okay, maybe there's one more here we can do. Um, I heard a Pleiadian channeling say that they are not ascended beings and are just like us. They make mistakes, experience heartbreak and unrequited love, get impatient, etc. However, when I hear you speak, it seems the Sasani are ascended compared to us and don't make mistakes or get impatient. Is that true? And can you explain this difference and why the Pleiadians would send such a message?
That is a misinterpretation to some degree. Yes, Pleiadians can make mistakes in the sense that you understand that term, but they don't relate to them as mistakes. They relate to them in the way that we do, as simply new information that can be applied in given situations. They don't have the idea of unrequited love. They do not experience that in that way. Can they be sad? Yes, they can be, but they don't really experience things in the way that that person is describing. That's a little bit of filtering coming through the human persona. But the idea is they are certainly of a higher vibration than many people on your planet. If you want to say they are ascended because they are on a higher frequency, then certainly you can say that. But they are more similar to you than we are. They are, again, your genetic cousins. They are very much like you in many ways, but they are the fourth density version, and therefore are more like what humanity is evolving into as physical beings in a fourth density state. So, no, it's not as pronounced as the way that was described in terms of what they experience emotionally, but they are a little bit more like you. They can experience a little bit more of a range of emotions in that sense, something that you can relate to more easily. Yet they are still seemingly, from your perspective, more advanced in their emotional qualities.
Okay, and I'm going to slip one more in here. When there is first contact, do we physically need to be where it is physically occurring, or can we somehow be able to experience it telepathically, holographically? And basically, is first contact going to involve hearing communication telepathically as opposed to actually having someone speak to you in your language?
For the most part, yes, your people will experience open contact on many different levels in many different ways, regardless of where you are. And generally speaking, again, if you are more vibrationally compatible in certain ways with certain beings who will be present in open contact, you will usually synchronistically find yourself exactly where you need to be to experience it in whatever way is relevant for you. So don't worry about it. You won't miss it if that's what you're concerned about.
Okay, that's great. Well, thank you so much, Bashar. We really appreciate all your helpful information.
Our deep appreciation to all of you as well. And now we would encourage you to become very relaxed, breathe easily, calmly, let go of the cares of the day, and prepare yourselves for a beautiful, calming, releasing, and behaviorally changing meditation. All right, so now we will allow you to allow yourselves to become relaxed, let go of the cares of the day, breathe deeply and easily, and allow yourselves to focus inwardly on the idea of letting go of consequential secrets and feeling the relief and the release, no longer carrying the burden and the weight of that secret, no longer worrying about the idea of exposure, letting the past be the past, taking a deep breath and with open eyes looking to the horizon, to what you call the future, of higher frequency energy, of joy, of love, of light, of freedom, of open contact, changing the behavior, putting it behind you. You know that the rewards that will come to you will be much greater than holding on to whatever it is you think is a benefit of continuing the behavior of a consequential secret. Open up to receive that when you let go of the stress that is in your bodies of holding on to the secret, you open yourself up to the possibility of being able to receive higher vibrations that will be far more rewarding than anything you've ever experienced by continuing the behavior of your secret, which you may think creates beneficial experiences for you, and to some degree might have, but will pale by comparison to the benefits you will receive by freeing yourself and your body of the energetic and physical stresses of carrying the burden of the secret with you. Knowing that you are free in that way, that there are no repercussions for you or anyone else of a negative nature by changing that behavior, that you can move forward freely and even actually experience, in certain ways, even more ability than was allowed in the behavior that you were exhibiting. We will not go into detail about what that means exactly, but you will actually find more freedom in a certain way, not the same way, but in a certain way that will allow you to be more your true self and interact with others in a more true self way by claiming that particular station for yourself in a higher frequency energy, in a more relaxed fashion, in ways of connection that will be more natural for you and will bring in more experiences of joy, effortlessness, connection, companionship, and allow you to experience more of the companionship that will come to you from the extraterrestrials that will be involved in open contact. Allow yourself to move forward in a transparent way. Breathe in the feeling of freedom that this will afford you. And breathe out the sigh of release. That you no longer have this weight upon your shoulders. That you can answer honestly to anyone who may ask, no, this is not who I am. I am moving forward. Knowing that they also cannot pursue whether or not you used to behave that way. For again, they will understand the other side of the coin is that they will reap upon themselves the consequence of pursuing the past. Be free. Step forward. Move forward. Allow your body to relax. Allow it to open up. Allow your heart to expand, your mind to expand, and more of your soul to expand and express itself through your physical personality. Do not fear. Do not feel lack. Do not feel loss. All of these things belong in the past. They will not travel forward with you if you truly understand how much you will be capable of expanding, how much you will be capable of receiving, how much joy you will be capable of experiencing, and freedom and light and love by no longer exhibiting the behavior that perpetuates the consequential secrets. And as you see in your society, secrets come to light, and the ability and freedom that comes with it that allows you to take new courses, new paths in life, that allows you to feel the connections that you are making and perpetuating along your life path when you congregate in astral form. You have all planned this all out. Now it is time to do so, for these secrets will come out if they continue. Allow yourself to be free of that worry, free of that burden, free of that probability. Unshackle yourself. Be free. Continue to breathe deeply and understand the importance of what we have discussed today. No more secrets of this nature. Breathe easily, float freely. And in this new paradigm and in this new vibration, come to us so that we may come to you, so that we may together create a new reality of unlimited potential in happiness, joy, ecstasy, love, and light. Our unconditional love to you all, Welcome home. Aveo. Good day.